الأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولهم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا مهدرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخنا على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننكس في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو قسيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
السلام عليكم. thank you all of you for attending to this session of monthly reflections. Inshallah, when Maulana comes, he's on his way, I'll discuss more about the program. The topic which we're discussing, which many of you may know, is the last will of an alim called Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi, which inshallah I hope many of you had the chance to maybe look over. It's up here for you to read. But in the time they're waiting, can I call Brother Zaki Rizvi to read parts of the will while we're waiting for Maulana to come, inshallah. Sallallahu Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The last will of Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi. He starts off by speaking to his son and addressing his son. He says, I advise my son to always remain ready to serve the religion of Islam and strive in the defense of truth. Today the religion of Islam is crying, Hal min nasirin yansurni, Hal min dhabbin yadhubbu anni. Is there any helper who will come to help me? Is there any rescuer who will come to my rescue? He continues on to say, oh my son, in this age, there are very few who answer this plea. He also says that he also prays that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward those few that there are. He advises his son to always ponder deeply over the verses of the Holy Quran and follow the advice and the instructions contained within it. Visit the graves frequently and think, where were these people yesterday? What were they? How were they? And where have they come today? He's telling us to remember where we are going towards, where we came from, our final destination and where we started off, how we got to where we are today. He says to not sit and indulge in vain and useless gatherings. There are few gatherings today, he says, where gossip, slander and lies are not present. And we see today, even in our mosque and our Imam Bargas, after the majlis, when we listen to people's discussions, we can hear this same kind of vain talk which we should avoid, which Ayatollah is telling us that we should be avoiding. And we should be avoiding not only those conversations, but those places where these conversations take place. So we should try our best to move these conversations, especially away from our mosques and our Imam Bargas, and out of our lives completely. He also says to refrain from excessive attachment to this world, which you all understand, you all know, because as he's mentioned earlier, this world is not our final destination. It's not where we will end up. Rather, it is just a journey to get to the next world, inshallah. He says to maintain good relations with our close relatives, and he says by this act we will gain inspiration to do good deeds and earn blessings and increase our means and lifespan. He also says to refrain from the backbiting of the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and especially remain aloof from gossip about the scholars, because he compares that to eating not only the dead flesh that backbiting is referred to as, but he says this is like eating poisoned dead flesh. He says it is even worse when it is about a scholar. He also says to remain engrossed in the learning of religious knowledge, and with gatherings like this, inshallah, we will continue to engross ourselves in these, we'll continue to take opportunities to increase our knowledge Islamically and use that knowledge within our own practical lives, within our lives every day. He says to continue to progress in it every day, so when we leave here today, we should not forget what we learned, we should not forget what we heard from Maulana, inshallah, when he arrives. But we should carry on using that in our lives. We should carry on implementing it in our lives. And he says to always remain busy in spreading that Islamic knowledge, just for time. So not only should we here come and learn about Islam, but it's then our duty to go on, move further and tell other people what we learned. It's our duty to move on and let other people know what it is that we've been taught by Islam. He says, oh my son, and this is something we can all implement within our lives. It is about the surahs and the tilawat of the Quran that we should do after our daily prayers. He says after Fajr namaz, recite Surah Yasin. After Dhuhr, Surah Naba. After Asr, recite Surah Al-Asr. After Maghrib, Surah Waqi'ah. And after Isha prayers, recite Surah Al-Mulk. He says, in this practice are amazing gains. His teachers advised him to do this, and he has seen its blessings more than once. This is something that we can very easily implement in our lives. It is clearly said how we can implement it in our lives. After these namaz, after these daily prayers, we recite a certain surah. They're up here as well if you wish to read them. He also says that in the qunut of wajib prayers, always recite the following. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqqi Fatimata wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha wa sirri al-mustaw'idhi fiha أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد وأن تفعل بما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بما أنا أهله. That translates to Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Oh Allah, I beseech you in the name of Fatima, her father, her husband, her sons, and the secret she is buried with. Shower your blessings upon Muhammad and his progeny, and do unto me that which is worthy of your mercy, and not that which is worthy of my actions. Salawat. He tells us that in Qunut we should recite this dua every day for the Qunut of wajib praise. And can we recite aloud salawat from Allah? I'll just finish this point and then we'll hand over to Malala inshallah. So he says that we should recite this dua in our qunut. He says he was taught this supplication by his father as well as his teacher, Shaykh Muhammad Hussain Shirazi. He is also narrated this authentic narration from Sayyid Murtada Kashmiri by Ibn Tuth of the Holy Imams Sallallahu Ala Alayhim.
Ahsan. For Zaki Rizvi, for his research and his oratory, we Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. If I can invite Maulana Ali Musa Sayyidi to please join me here and welcome him with another Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And once more to all of you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for coming today. This is the second in our series called Monthly Reflections. The purpose of this series is this. Often during the month we gain new knowledge and multiple religious and social and political events occur. And during that month we form our judgments, we form our opinions, but sometimes we need an expert to inform our judgments. Many times when we get information, we form a conclusion and then we stick to our conclusion. So this format is for this reason. Once a month, the mu'mineen come together, and any religious event which has occurred, any social event, any political event, we gather and a scholar gives us some guidance on what has occurred. That's the aim. Alhamdulillah, we started this program this year. This is the second session, and we are very honored to have our guests with us. Another purpose for this program is for youth as well, because we try to keep these programs in the English language so that youth can benefit and be comfortable in these environments, inshallah. I'm very honored to say that our guest today is Maulana Ali Musa Zaidi. For a number of reasons. Maulana is so busy. He's only here for a short time in England. He's lecturing in Leicester and in Reading, so we're very lucky he gave us his time, alhamdulillah. And also, another very important reason, you see, this format is for religious and social and political discussion. And so it's appropriate that we have with us a guest who is able to claim an expertise in all of these issues, religious issues and social and political analysis. We are very blessed. So in order to thank Maulana for attending, to give him the gift of blessing, and also to pray for his good health, his good success, and his long life, inshallah, please relay salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Let me explain the format of today's program. We have a topic, which many of you know, and you've been hearing Abu Zaki recite, which is the will of Ayatollah Marashi Najafi and its lessons for our lives. Here's the structure. We'll begin with a short discussion by Maulana, and then we'll have a break. And in that break, you have the opportunity to write any questions about what you heard, or maybe if there's something which needs more analysis or you're interested in the paper will be provided by the volunteers, or you can raise your hand after the break and ask them. So anything you hear in there, main discussion. Before I give to Maulana, let me just mention who Agha Marashi is. I think it'll be useful. Ayatollah Marashi was born in 1897, he died in 1990. Very famous alim and very well respected for his literary contributions. I mentioned two things about him so that we understand his personality before we dive into his will. Agha Marashi. They say that as a child he used to collect books, rare books, especially those from authorities who were keeping them away from the mu'mineen, restricting knowledge, important Shi'i manuscripts, and he'd buy them. And he'd work as an alim as well, and work really hard, collect donations just to purchase books. By the time he died, they had collected over 70,000 Shi'i books, many of them rare manuscripts. And so Ayatollah Khomeini decided to honor Agha Marashi by building a library in his honor. So many of you maybe If you've been to Iran, maybe you've seen his life. And when he died, before he died, he left a will, our topic, a very special will, which has a number of points relating to the advices of Aimma and Quran, which he found personally beneficial. So he compiled it in one will for us to understand. And just so you know who he is, after he's written this will, great alim, well respected in the community, he ends by saying that this will is by Allah's worthless slave Marashi. This is the humility of the scholar. Now, to discuss the will of Agha Marashi Najafi and its lessons for our lives, please may I ask Agha Ali Murtaza Zaidi to begin his discussion. Sallallahu Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ونريد أن نمن على الذين استضعفوا في الأرض ونجعلهم أئمة ونجعلهم الوارثين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. First of all, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for providing us this opportunity to think about the work and services done by ulama, and as he said, Ayatollah Marashi Najafi is one of the most famous ulama of this generation, and the contribution he has done in his life, either in the shape of library, collection of books, or the services which he offered at Haram of Bibi Ma'asuma Salamullah alayhi. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He led prayer there for more than 30 years without going anywhere, and every day, 3 times he was there. And what environment, spiritual environment he created when he was there. I don't know how many of you were lucky enough to be in his namaz, Jamaat, and had the opportunity to see him. And Alhamdulillah, I can say that was one of the most attractive time at home when he was there. Though he used to lead his prayer very quickly. He was very famous for that. His namaz, Maghrib and Isha would have ended in around, I think, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. But that quick session of namaz was an inspiration for everyone there. And I can't imagine, I can't tell you, cannot explain you what was the environment during that namaz, and how people used to line up for just a ziyarah of that kind person, this spiritual person, moving in and going out. Just the line up to see this scene of he's coming in and he's going out. So Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing that you pay attention and you dedicate your time for thinking about these services and about these people. And in my experience of being a student of religious studies, I have understood that whenever you have this opportunity, it means you are being blessed. It means that, okay, now you have a time to receive something. So it's very good and it's an honor to think about these ulama, either Ayatollah Marashi Najafi or the earlier ones, and to follow their path and what benefit you can get from this session. In my opinion, not only from this session, from every session, I think, everywhere I had any opportunity, what I do normally. For example, I will get 5 advices from this alim or 10 advices from this alim, but the least I can do is to pick 1 or 2 of them and strictly, what you call, religiously follow that. Okay, for example, I'm starting my discussion with this recommendation by this scholar. He said in every ruku, and better in the last ruku, you will recite this sentence: Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad وترحم على عزنا وأغثنا بحقهم. Either with Ya Arham Ar-Rahimin, without Arham Ar-Rahimin. So what you can do, you can adopt this sentence. And I think you have the sentence in writing all over the pages where you have discussion regarding his will. You can find this sentence. وَتَرَحَّمَ عَلَى after Durud, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. وَتَرَحَّمْ عَلَى عَزِّنَا وَأَغِثْنَا بِحَقِّهِمْ. Oh Allah, have mercy on us in their need and help us in their need. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, either with Ya Arhamar Rahimin or without Arhamar Rahimin. So what this sentence can do for you, it can bring more attention in your namaz. It can give you what I say, a color of spirituality in your namaz. So while in the last ruku, at least last ruku or in the last rakah of your namaz, for example, if it is first in the second or the third or fourth, whichever it is, so you will just wait after ruku and then your Subhanallah al-Azim wa bihamdihi, you will recite a durood and think about what you are asking. That is one of the points you can pick here. Or many of his recommendations in his life, he had a few wonderful events. In one of his events, I don't know has this been discussed or not, he had a chance to meet Imam al-Asr alayhi salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When he was with Imam also recommended him a few things. And in one of those recommendations was again a dua after every namaz, Allahumma sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad sarrihni anil humumi wal humum. So Imam recommended him to say this sentence after every prayer, and the complete one I'm forgetting, and I will try to recall it. Sarrihni anil humumi wal humum ya arhamar rahimin. I will tell you the complete sentence. So pick one or two sentences and make it sure that you follow this all the life. So, but picking sentences is not going to change yourself. It can help you. It can bring more attention in your namaz. But what can change your life? Look at this will, and I will suggest 3 or 4 points, main points to learn from his will. Number 1, this will is not showing anything to do with material things. Normally, when we see a will from a person, it reflects the person's mentality, how he thinks, what's happening in his mind, and what is important for him or her. So this will is not reflecting anything from these things. For example, where the house should be given and where this money should be spent. There's nothing about these type of things. So whatever I see in this will, it goes onto 2 or 3 points, I think. Number 1, what's going to happen with me after my death? This is the main concern in this will. Look at this point. He says that take my dead body to the member where I used to sit, the place where I used to have majalis, and tie my amama, one part of my amama to my body, and one part of amama to the member which was used for 30 years for reciting majalis of Imam Musa alayhi salam. Now, why he is doing this? He is creating the scene of a person. For example, it is very common in Iran and elsewhere that a person goes to any shrine of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, he ties himself with a rope and the other side of the rope tied with the shrine, and he said that, oh Imam, bless me, and I want to get rid of my, for example, illness, or for example, any trouble. This type of activity is called making them dakhil. Yeah, asking them to be my shafi and take my problems away. Now, what Ayatollah Ma'ashi Najafi is doing? He's saying, oh Imam, I participated and I tried to help your madaris for so many years. Now, be my dakhil and take me to the better place in the life after death. So his concerns are concentrating on the life after death. At two places he said, do this thing, one to the haram of Bibi Masuma Salamullahi alayha, and the second one to the member of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and said, do this. So his first concern is the life after death, and he is preparing himself for this transitional life from here to there. So what I can learn from this point of this great scholar, I cannot depend on my deeds. I cannot depend on the goodness I have done. I cannot depend upon my actions. I have to have someone who should help me after my death. So if I just try to make a comparison between us and him, surely he did a lot of things. And the services which he offered, we cannot even imagine about ourselves. Again, he is not depending on his ibadah. He is not depending on his fasting, or for example, the collection of books, or the lectures he has given, or whatever services he has done for followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Again, he is asking them to be his dakhil and try to get taken. So, I think what I can learn that, okay, in my life, I will try my best to make my life after that more and more easier, more and more acceptable, beautiful. But again, I cannot depend on my actions. I cannot depend upon my deeds. I have to get blessing from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. This is one of the emotional parts of his life. You know, he wasn't a scholar. And the type of scholar, lecturing every day, working on usulul fiqh and other logical, very philosophical topics, most of those scholars lose their emotional side of personality. But he was not that type of person. He had this emotional side of personality active in his life. So the way he is saying that tie a mama to there and there to my body, normally a very philosophical, very rational person might not understand this point, but he is doing it. Though he was very philosophical, though he was very rational, he was a teacher for more than 40 years, but he is doing it. Why? Because of the sentimental and the emotional attachment with Ahlul Bayt. So this is good. You cannot ignore it. So whoever you are, whatever place, whatever your status or your reputation, you have to have this type of emotional connection with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Be humble against them, at least. At least be humble against them. So, against all your services, against all your rationality, against all your intellectual, academic reputation, again, be humble. Be very humble. So this is the point which I can learn from this scholar, the type of will he has offered. And so my first point is preparation for hereafter, the life which is going to come, and for that preparation, number one, be humble against Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Have your emotional connection with them. So, recitation of, for example, saying Durood, it is not only a practice. Sometimes I feel that when we do any ibadah, we just stuck to the sawab and azab of amal, and that's it. If I recite Durood, I will get that much of sawab. If I, for example, recite this surah of Holy Quran at that day, I will get that much of sawab. Don't stuck yourself in this type of mentality. So just calculation. This much of sawab, that much of aqab. No, you have to have something emotional in yourself. A connection with Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Spiritual connection. And that, because of that spiritual connection, you were blessed with the meeting with, his meeting with Imam al-Asr alayhi salatu wasalam. Sallu ala Muhammad. So, in my opinion, preparation and to be humble against Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, having an emotional connection whenever you recite Durood, for example, I too missed this point in my life, but just suggesting you to do this, at least in namaz. Whenever you recite durood, just think about the durood, about durood. For example, you are saying, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now, how can I make my mind concentrate on the meaning of durood actually? We just recite it. For example, in just a few minutes, we have recited 4 or 5 times durood. Now, while reciting durood, have you paid any attention on the meaning of durood? No, you don't do this. So just to make a habit of yourself, to pay attention, what I do sometimes, when I say Muhammad, I concentrate my mind, I take my mind to the shrine of Rasul Khuda, that green tomb or the shrine. So I could concentrate on his personality. And then when I say Ali Muhammad, I take my mind to Jannatul Baqi and other shrines of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So I could concentrate on this meaning. So whenever you are saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, this is one of the ways. Take your mind to the shrine of Rasulullah Khuda and then come to Jannatul Baqi, or for example Najaf, or for example Karbala, or to Mashhad, so you could concentrate on meaning of durood inshaAllah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I don't know the last time you did that or not. This is our habit, you know. We just recite. Try to make your mind do something. Otherwise, you're not going to get any benefit. Just saying Tarahmala azzana wa aghithna bihaqqihim ya arhamar, it is not going to give you any benefit. Unless you concentrate. Unless you think about what you are saying. So, preparation for hereafter, humbleness against Ahlul Bayt, don't depending upon your amal, don't depending upon whatever you have done, services you have offered. No, the second point. In will, mostly, when a person is very experienced, he cannot show his experience all the way. He has done, for example, how many years he was alive? What was his age? More than 90. So 90 years is a big time, you know. So he wants to reflect his experience of 90 years, for example, in his will. What he has said should be very calculated, should be very summarized. So my second point in will is the point which he thinks is important in his life. He is going to reflect in his will. Now what he has shown from that will, but what I can understand, what I can learn from that will. In the background of this second point, we have a tradition in which Ali ibn Mahziyar, not the famous Rawi Ali ibn Mahziyar, but the other one, met Imam al-Asr alayhi salam in Mecca. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. And he asked Imam that, Imam, I was coming for 20 years to Hajj, to see you, but your person and your representative never allowed me to come here. He wanted to say that, but instead of him saying that, Imam said, I was waiting for you for so many years. Why you never came here? So he was surprised, and he was thinking that, okay, I came here for 20 years. But then Imam said, had not you done 3 things, you could have met me earlier. One of them is tajabbartum ala zu'afa al-Shia. You never took care of weak followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. No, Ayatollah Marashi insisted in his will upon taking care of those followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, those who cannot defend their faith, those who have trouble in their life, those who are living in, for example, miserable conditions. He insisted upon his son to take care of them. And he said, this should be one of the most important programs of your life, to do this. Now, doing something in the margin of your life, periphery of life is something, making it the core of your life is something else. We do a lot of things at weekend because this is our free time, and you call it comfort zone. But what else you do in the core of your life, this is important. Our core of our life is dedicated for our financial well-being. This is the case. This is what's happening here. And after that core, we have a periphery, and in this periphery, we do activities like these. So if this type of activity was planned for Thursday, for example, or Tuesday, I don't think it was possible, because we do that on weekends when we are relatively free to come. Don't try it. So I think we have to plan for our life. I have few years, not that many, which Ayatollah Marashi had, because of my weakness. Otherwise, Allah has given us rules how to make it a longer period. So we had more than 90 years, for example. I may not have that much time. I have to be very careful. What is the core of my life? What is the core result of my life? And he is insisting that this should be the core activity of your life. Two activities he is insisting upon. Number one, connection with Ahlul Bayt, either through ibadah or through knowledge. Number two, taking care of followers of Ahlul Bayt. He's insisting upon it. Now, when a person of that age, of that caliber, saying something, after 90 years, reflecting his experience, what should be the importance of these sentences? It is just as our first Imam, Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he also blessed us with his will, and in his will, one of the most famous sentences which he said, "Usikum bittaqwallah wa nazmi amrikum." I'm going to will you, this is my will, for taqwa ilahi and nazmi amrikum. I cannot translate very well this nazmi amrikum. You can call it organize your issues, or you can say discipline in your life, but none of these will reflect nazmi amrikum. It is more than that. So this is the will of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He is insisting upon 2 points, taqwa and nazm. Ayatollah Marashi insisting upon 2 points. Number one, connection with Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Now, is it enough to have this connection and this activity helping followers of Imam alayhi salam as the periphery of my life? He says no. This should be core of your life. Now, plan yourself. How can you make your life go in a way that it becomes in the core of your life? For example, a few very lucky people, very lucky, they have their main job is to do and practice this point. For example, I'm doing a business, and the business is, for example, selling cars. I'm selling cars. Now, can I say that by selling cars, I'm serving followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam? Might be in a few cases. But for example, if I'm developing homes, low-cost homes for those of my society who cannot afford to have home, and I am just making it happen for them to have homes. Now, what about this business? Is it good or not? Now, can you make your life work for you for hereafter? Sometimes for 8 hours we do something which has nothing to do with our objectives. It is just for finance. I was in one of the countries when I met a very good person, a very good follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. He was an emotional follower too. And I asked him, what do you do for your living? He said, I work for insurance. And I said, what are the things which you insure? He said, I'm working on buildings. So he said, for accidentally, we are just passing through the building which I'm working on. He showed me the building. It was a big building, for example. I said, what's happening in this building? You are working on insurance of this building. What's happening in this building? He said, don't ask me. Nothing good is happening here. So I said, you are working for insurance of a building, and this building has no good thing happening here. So why are you doing this? Now this is my point. I'm wasting my life. I'm sorry, it's a bit harsh. I'm putting my life on something which has nothing to do with my hereafter, nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with followers of Ahlul Bayt, nothing to do with Imam al-Asad. Why I'm doing this? Just because I have to earn something. Now this is controversy. It is actually contradiction. I'm asking Allah to make my life work for me for hereafter, and just for finance I'm doing something which has nothing to do with this objective. Now, this is a very radical question. People will say that, Maulana, as far as we are earning halal, it is allowed. I'm not saying it is not allowed. It is allowed, yes, you can do this. But to make, just to pay attention or will of Ayatollah Marsi, what these people are doing, never they do anything which goes for second against their objectives. Never. They call it shirk. They will never do it. So, in one of the famous events, when he came back from Iraq, he was a student there, and he came back to Iran. After a few years, he became Marja, but not that popular. Not that popular. He was famous in Qom in the early times, and he tried to go to Ziyarat, and someone told him that, Maulana, it is not a good time to go for Ziyarah. Just wait for a while, for a few years, then you go for Ziyarah. He said, why? They said, you are popular here in Qom, but you are not that popular in Mashhad. And no one knows your name in between the distance between Mashhad and Qom. There are many cities, they don't know you. So at that time there was no, for example, aeroplane flying you, taking you to there. So you have to go by road or by traveling on, for example, camels and these things. He said, no one knows you. So if you go there, you will be looking just like a normal person. You're not Marja Taqleed. With that type of gesture, you might lose your strength, even in Qom and Mashhad. Ayatollah said, what are you going to teach me? Isn't it shirk? If I'm doing something, what should I look for? Just Raza'at Ilahi and nothing else. What are you teaching me? After 60 years or 50 years of my life, you're teaching me to pay attention on what people are saying and how they will perceive it. But this is against my job. This is not my job. So they never allow a minute of their life to spend in anything against their objective of life. Now, I'm telling you, this is very radical. And if you want to work on it, you have to move a lot of things. But I think this is very important. Make your life work for you. Work for you and work for your hereafter, work for your religion. This is what I can understand from his will, that he is taking all these issues in the core of our life, not in the peripheries. It should be the core of our concentration. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Third point, which I could understand, will is a constant connection with, I will title it, higher realities. We have two types of realities. Now, this might is real. It's not imagination. It's real. But this is not higher type of reality. There are realities which are higher in their status. For example, they are more influential. Their influence will last not in this world. It will go beyond that world too. Now, how many of these type of realities you are in contact with? For example, if we just want to list those type of realities, Allah is the supreme reality, and then the Prophet, then A'imma, and then the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He has created, for example, angels, farishte. Now, how many of these greater realities you are in connection with them in your daily life? Again, I see it lies just in the peripheries of our life, not in the core of our life, having connection with higher realities. What are these sentences all about? Why? In one of the advices I got from one of ulama, I met him and said, how can I be connected with Imam? He said, I will advise you. It's very tough, but I will advise you. He said, yes, please. He said, after every 15, 30 minutes, just say as-salam to your Imam, and you will remain connected. He said, it's very tough. And of course, it is really tough. I could not practice it, but he advised me. After every 15 or 30 minutes, make your habit, say as-salam to your Imam. Now, why we do this? Just to have connection with higher realities. We are involved in this world, and alhamdulillah, they could break this limit of this world. They live there not for here. They live there not for there. This is the main point. Connection with higher realities. Now you go through His will and you will find this connection everywhere. Why you do this? Why you are doing that? Ask yourself. One of the main points, I think, in my life, in our life, whatever you are doing, whatever businesses, academics, learning, teaching, earning, spending, whatever you are doing, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the objective? If the objective comes close to these high realities, then it makes sense. Otherwise, there is no sense why you are doing it. So, if you are sitting here, it has a very clear objective, and that objective comes very close to the higher realities. But if you are on the road, or if you are in front of your television, what you are doing? Is this connected with whatever you have accepted somewhere else? Or you are going to face in your life after death? If not, why be fooling yourself? Why wasting your life? Isn't it being crazy? We accept something and we put most of our time for things which we say that these are not important. So why we are doing this? Type of personality like Ayatollah Marashini, when you see how they spend their life, what they say, what they believe, what they practice, you get to the point that, okay, they were not wasting their life. They were practicing it, concentrating solely on the objective of their life. So these are a few points. I'm not going to take your time, but main essence and core is development. He was at the age of 90 thinking about development. He was not losing his time. You know, when we are young, and for example, with this guy or the people here, they always think about being developed. They want to learn something. Always try to learn something. But what after 40 or 50 years? We take it as normal. And he, even after 90, he's trying to learn. He's trying to develop. Don't make yourself doing left, right on the same place for a long period. Imam said, if 2 days of your life are equal to each other, then you have lost it. So don't lose your life. Don't waste your time. Try to develop yourself. And this can only be done when development will be the core of your life, the objective of your life. So whatever you are doing, whatever you are performing, ask yourself, is it going to help me? Or this is just waste of time? At least realize that this is waste of my time. At least realization. So I cannot be that type of philosophical or rational person as Ayatollah Marashi Najafi was, but at least realization that this is the time being wasted is, I think, was a step, and then you can improve yourself, develop yourself, take your time, and inshallah don't waste it and reach to a destination. Now, he had a meeting with Imam that was one of the greatest parts of his life, and he used to remember that thing very much, and he reflected in one of his wills that meeting which he had with Imam alayhi salam. From that meeting of Imam, he got some points, and one of the points I just remembered, I wanted to share with you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad. There were many recommendations from Imam for him. And I think Imam was preparing him for the responsibility which he was going to take in the later parts of his life. We met Imam in Masjid Sahla, and that meeting lasted for 2 or 3 hours. This was exceptional. Those who met Imam, they could not spend time more than a few minutes, but he had spent more than 2 or 3 hours with Imam. And a lot of discussions, and in one of his interviews, he explained a few parts of that and said, cannot explain the rest. And from that part, he had recommendation from Imam, and in one of his recommendations, Imam said, recite a few surah after every namaz. And surah after Fajr was Surah Yasin. After Zuhr, if I could remember well, it was Surah Naba. After Asr, it was Surah Al-Asr. After Maghrib, it was Surah Waqi'ah. And after Isha, it was Surah Mulk. I may not be able to do all 5, but at least you can start with Surah Asr, the smallest one. So this is what I do in my life. If I have a task, for example, this type of task in Ibadat, I can't do 100% of that. I will ask Allah to give me tawfiq for the least one. So I could start, and if I die, I will tell Allah that I was on the way to deliver. So start with Surah Asr, and then for Maghrib, Surah Al-Waqi'ah after Maghrib, Imam recommended him to offer a prayer to recite a namaz of 2 rakah after Maghrib, before Isha, and he said, if in that namaz you recited Surah Al-Waqi'ah, that will be enough. So don't have to recite again a Surah Al-Waqi'ah. So he recommended a namaz of 2 rakah after Maghrib, and in that namaz after Surah Fatiha, you may recite Surah Al-Waqi'ah. And taking the same point, I said, if in the nafila of Isha, if I make my habit to recite Surah Al-Mulk, so that might be enough for the one which he had recommended, Surah Al-Mulk after Isha. So where you will start with, I think you can start with Surah Al-Asr, and slowly and gradually come to Surah Al-Mulk, which you will recite in nafila of Isha, and then as far as you can go, you will practice it, inshallah. And as I earlier told you, just recitation or just saying something is not enough. Put it in your life. Learn it learn from these sentences what you have to do in your life, in the core of your life, not the paraphrase. Sorry for this late, and it is all beyond my control. If it was in Pakistan, I was driving, and it was Pakistan, we could do a lot of things, and we could reach, but it was not me who was driving, Ilyas bhai was driving, and it was London, not Karachi. So there are a lot of limits here, and second thing is my undisciplined discussion which I just delivered, it was not that disciplined because I had a lot of points in my mind which I wanted to reflect in an hour, but I had to reschedule it, and I thought, oh, it cannot be for an hour. So just reorganizing that points, I lost the discipline which should be there. So, inshallah, Allah will make it beneficial for us, inshallah. We will learn from his personality, we will learn from his taqwa, and inshallah we will follow the same path which he was following and serving followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Now I think, thank you so much, Allah. I think we'll go straight to the Q&A just because we can make the most of the time we have with Allah. If you'd like to ask a question, if something has come to you, please raise your hand. One of the volunteers will be here with a microphone for sisters. Also, there's paper being provided. Who has paper over here to give for questions? Brother Ihsan, over here we have paper as well, and the lady. Down. Try to write it down. While you're thinking, I'll ask just for me, forgive me, and then inshallah you can ask all of your questions. Allah, I asked this question because we are in Ayam Fatimiyya. It seems as if looking at the will of Allah Marashi, he has quite a special relationship with Sayyidah Zahra Salamu alayha. Numerous points he mentions are about her or linked to her in somehow, and one he says to always read Khutbah Fadakiyah, for example. One point which he mentions, which I want to know the wisdom behind, which we can benefit from. He says in his qunut, he recommended to say Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqqi Fatimata wa abiha wa ali abniha wa sirr al-mus'awdu fiha Rasulullah Muhammad wa an ta'fal bima anta ahlu wa la ta'fal bima ana ahlu. 2 points here. Number one, what does this mean in terms of our lives, and how can we become really close to Sayyidah Fatima in these ayam? And also, وَالسِّرُّ الْمُسْتَعَوْضُهُ فِيهَا. This is sometimes a bit controversial about what we should say and not say in these ayam in Fatimiyya, how we should perform, this particular commemoration. So please, can you elucidate on this point?
Of course, the behavior which he and people like him have, the emphasis which they have on the personality and connection with Sayyidah Fatima Zahra Salamullah. And of course, this is all following the path which Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam explained to us. The Prophet did for us, the dealing which Prophet had with his daughter. And it all disclosed to us that, okay, there is something happening here. There is something strange in her personality. She was not Prophet, she was not Imam, but the Prophet, last Prophet, and all A'immah were showing respect to her great personality. I think if we could understand what is the meaning of Sirul Mustawda'i fiha, then it will not remain a sir. It will be disclosed. And all of them said that, all of them are saying that this is a sir, a secret here. So secrecy is one part of personality. So they are saying, وَسِرِّ Allahumma inna nas'aluka bihaqqi Fatima. We are asking you in the name of that secret which you have bestowed her. So I think none of us will ever have any power to know the secret which all of them are accepting, yes, this is a secret. And so we cannot decode this secret, I think. We just can say that following Holy Prophet and A'immah, that okay, there is a secret and there is something which we can't understand, but we are asking in the name of that secret which they are respecting. For example, the Holy Prophet is standing in front of Bibi Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayhi. What for? She is not Imam, she is not Prophet, there is something else. And that is the secret. What else is here? There are many discussions, though we cannot decode this secret, but there are discussions. Is it connected with the creation of the existence, for example? For example, the Holy Prophet said, أَوَّلُ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ نُورِي, and he said, I was the first Noor which was created. And then he said, Ana wa Ali min Noorin Wahid. Me and Ali are created from the same Noor. and then from them created Aimma Athar Salamullah alayhim ajma'in. Now, if that is the hierarchy, then why the first Noor is standing in front of Bibi Sayyida? Why? And why the one who shared this first Noor is showing respect against Hazrat Sayyida Fatima Salamullah alayhi? Though the first Noor, Prophet himself, the one who shared this Noor, Amir Mu'mineen, both of them showing respect. Not only love and affection, this is respect. Beyond love. If you stand in front of someone, it is not just because of love, it is something else. So, there is something, we can't understand it. There is something exceptional in this type of existence which Sayyidat Rasulullah had. It is not related with the life she spent in this world, I think. It goes beyond that thing. It goes to the core creation of the universe. There is something here which I cannot understand, and I don't think anyone of us could understand, except those ulama of that level. Those could explain, but they never explain that. So I think we cannot discuss this thing. We just have a hint that there is a secret, and there is something, there's a secrecy, and there is something hidden here which we cannot understand. Now, the connection, which I insisted upon, higher realities, connection with higher realities. No, connection with, even Ayatollah Marashi Najafi gives us blessing. What if we could connect ourselves with Sayyidah Tahira Salamullah? And that type of blessing, that type of Nuraniya which they are targeting at. So there are two expressions for this dua. In one of the expressions, we just ask for Allah to send durood on Sayyidah Tahira. We don't ask anything. Allahumma salli or anything else. In this expression we say Allahumma salli ala Fatima wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha wa sirr al-mustawda'i fiha bi'adadi ma ahata bihi ilmuka. In this expression we are not asking anything except durood, asking Allah to send durood, and that's it. Now why we do this? Because we have a tradition in which the Holy Prophet said Afzalud du'a alhamdulillah. Best of the prayers is to say Alhamdulillah. You have not asked anything. And he is saying best of the prayer, best of the asking is to say Alhamdulillah. And in Alhamdulillah, you have never asked anything. So why it is the best? Because if you are surrendering yourself, you are accepting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will bless you by His own. You don't need to ask anything. The same way, the first expression says, just say, Salli ala Fatima wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha wa sirr al-mustawda'i fiha bi'adad ma ahata bihi ilmuka, and don't ask anything. And you'll be blessed. And the second expression, it says, no, ask it. Allahumma inna nas'aluka bihaqqi Fatima. We are asking you in the name of Sayyidah Tahira. So both are good. You can follow both of them. And I think in his recommendation he had recommended the one which has Allahumma inna nas'aluka bihaqqi Fatima wa abiha. So you can follow both of them. For example, how you can follow it. And to make it a part of our life, I will again recommend it to make it in your prayers, in your namaz. For example, you have 5 wajib prayers. 5 times you have to raise your hand for qunut, and for this qunut you can make a rule for yourself. For example, in every Fajr and Asr and Isha, you will say this durood or salat. Allahumma salli ala Fatima wa abiha. So you can make it your habit. This way it will remain in your life. You are not going to forget that. Okay? And again, I will also recommend to have Dua Salamati Imam in your qunut. For example, in Fajr, in Asr, and in Isha. So you can get benefit from everything. get benefit from everything. You see, Ayatollah Marashi said in the last ruku of your namaz, say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa taraham ala ajzina wa ghizna. Cannot you recite that after namaz? Yes, you can recite it. But if you make it part of your namaz, it will be in your life forever. So do it in your qunut. For example, salawat ala Fatima salamullahi alayha in your qunut. And dua salamti Allahumma kulli waliyik in your qunut. If you cannot do it in every, so just divide it into Fajr and Asr and Isha. So this will keep these du'as in your life, inshallah.
Preference to everyone who's here. Do you have any questions? Please raise your hand if you want to ask. Or if you have paper and you want to give, raise the paper and someone will take it from you. Any questions?
One question we have here is, did Ayatollah Marashi ever mention any method of meeting Imam Zaman alayhi salam?
This is one of the most famous questions whenever we talk about Imam Zamana. People ask, and we have this wish to meet Imam. Now, can have a meeting with Imam while he is in Ghaiba. Isn't it a blessing? Sure, it's a blessing, it's a reward. No. Can anyone get this reward without doing anything? If this is a reward, then I should concentrate not on reward, on the merits which brings me that reward. We mostly concentrate on the reward itself. So we say, how can I meet Imam? Just ask yourself what I should do to meet Imam. And don't pay all your attention on just recitation. For example, we have a nuskha, and it is very famous that every day, 40 times in the morning, 40 times in the evening, you will recite that I kalima, Allahu Rabbi adkhilni mudkhala sidqin wa akhrijni mukhraja sidq waj'alni min ladunka sultanan nasira. So they say 40 times in the morning, 40 times in the evening, for 40 days. You do that and you will have the chance to meet Imam. Even if you meet Imam, will you recognize him? So one of the students of an Arif did that, and he came to his teacher and said, I never met him. He said, yes, you met him. He said, so what's the benefit? I could not recognize him. He said, you asked me how to meet him, not to recognize him. To recognize him, you have to prepare yourself. So pay attention on the merits. Pay attention on the standards, on the qualifications, not the reward only. What are the qualifications? Imam himself has told us. He said, Kassartumul amwal, you piled up wealth without distributing. Qata'atumur rahim, you have not taken care of your relatives. Your salatul rahim is very weak. وَتَجَبَّرْتُمْ عَلَى زُعَفَاءِ الشِّيَا, you never helped our weak followers, those who are in distress, those who are in need. So if I do these three things, for example, I don't pay all my life putting on wealth, and if I get wealth, which is not bad, I distribute it, I make a use of this wealth, number one. Number two, I take care of my relatives. Salatul Rahim is wajib, I do Salatul Rahim. Number three, I take care of those weak and in disaster, distress, which I can do. So then I can have a chance, a fairly good chance to see my Imam, inshallah. But if I don't do this and just rely on Rabbi adkhilni mudkhala sidqin wa akhrijni mukhraja sidq, it's not going to happen. So we can see our Imam, we can meet him, it's a blessing, but I think the way to proceed is to develop yourself, not to just recite a few ayah or a few words just to meet Imam.
Any other questions which we can go to? How will we go to sisters? Any questions here? No? Okay, brothers?
We've got another one here. Why do few ulama divide their worldly possessions in their will? Does Islam tell us what to do with their inheritance?
Yeah. You can ask in Urdu as well. Maybe you're shy because you would ask in Urdu. You can also I will answer as well.
Regarding distribution of wealth in our life or after our death, we have a rule from Sharia that whatever you ask to be done in your will, which is related to your worldly possession, it will be implemented only in 1/3 of your possessions. For example, if I had 100 rupees or 100 pounds and I asked in my will that all my money be given to a certain person, only 33 will be given, and 66 will be distributed as per the rule given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, regarding worldly possessions, only my will be implemented only in 1/3 of my possession. 2/3 will be distributed as per the rule defined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if someone says that, okay, this is my earning and I want to distribute it, do it in your life. When you are alive, not on the deathbed, you have all the powers to give your wealth wherever you want to do. But after your death, you're gone, your wealth is now in the hand of Sharia, which will decide what to do with your wealth. So if you want to say, you want to do something in your life, don't leave it after death. And I had a friend who had a very good business, and he said, what are you going to do with your business? He said, recommend me something. I said, looking at the will of Amir Mu'min alayhi salatu wasalam, in his life, he had distributed his wealth. He never waited for his death. So in his life, during his life, he decided what to do with his wealth. And after that, very few parts of his wealth were remaining to be distributed after death. And this is one part of our life. For example, I earn a lot of money, and it's here, and I'm leaving it for my next generation to do good deeds. A friend of mine said, I will never do this. I said, why? He said, whenever in my business I have a very good deal, big deal, I never leave it on my employees. I never leave it on my children. I do it by myself. And this is the biggest deal of my life. I cannot leave it for my next generation to decide. I'm not going to take this risk. I will do it by myself. And I will leave for them what is necessary for them to have. Otherwise, I will utilize it for my hereafter. So don't pay a lot of attention for next generation. They have their own life. They have to work for their own self. What I have worked for myself, I will do according to what Allah has given wajib on me, and the rest it should come for my hereafter. I will utilize it for my hereafter, not leaving it for the next generation to be in their hand and to see what they will do. Finally, we have a tradition, very strange tradition. It says that on the day of judgment, there will be a group which will be very I cannot choose the right word for that, hasra. And they will feel this hasra in their mind, in their soul, so much so, when we are in tension, when someone is in tension, extreme tension, it tenses and it becomes locked. So, iltaffat as-saqu bis-saq. On the day of judgment, a group will come and their saq, their feet will be locked in their feet because of the extreme tension. It is just an expression of tension. Why? They will say a very strange thing. They earned money from right or wrong. They did whatever they wanted to do. They earned money, a lot of money. Then they left it. Those who got their money, they were clever enough. They utilized their money for hereafter. That person will be punished for whatever he has done, never getting any benefit of his money. And the next generation, they were clever enough. They utilized that money for their hereafter, and they will be rewarded with paradise, Jannah. So he will say that, okay, I worked hard, and I got the punishment, and nothing from sawab. And they never did anything. They just got money and they just utilized for their hereafter, and they are going to Jannah. Hajj to was. This is one of the expressions at that time. So be very clever. Think about your generation, your children, not that much. In one of the sayings of Imam Ali alayhi salam, I had a wonderful experience. Around 20 years back, in 1998, I went to Parachanan. I was living in Karachi. I had 2 children at that time. I went to Parachanan. It's a very remote area in Pakistan, you know. And while in Parachanan, there was some trouble in Karachi. That's the usual case in Karachi. But that trouble made me worried. And I thought, if something happened with my family, how long it will take for me to reach Karachi again? Because Parachanar had no flight. Even right now, it has no flight. So you have to go by road. It's a long way. It's a risky way. And everywhere you have problems, troubles. So I thought, how long it will take me to reach there? And then I started, that tension and worry came in my mind. And after it was Maghrib, I led Maghrib prayer, and after Maghrib it was not satisfying me, so I came to where I used to sit, and then there was Nahju Balagha there. Just out of nowhere, I thought I should recite Nahju Balagha. I picked Nahju Balagha and opened the page. It was Kalimatul Qasar, the small sentences of Imam Ali. And at the first saying which I saw was amazing for me, very amazing. It said, don't think a lot about your family. If they are close enough to Allah, Allah will take care. And if they are away from Allah, then why you are worried for them? I thought it's a wonderful lesson for me. Okay, be relaxed. Enjoy your life. So I'm not that free of my mind, you know. I take care of them. But not that much that I will sacrifice my hereafter for them. It's my responsibility, and Allah commanded me to have this responsibility, but not at the price of Allah Himself. So there should be a division. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So much. I think we have time for 2 questions. Yeah, I'm sure. But maybe we have time. Anybody with a question? Anyone here first? No? Yeah, Allah.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, I think, thank you very much. The Quran says one of the purposes of creation is to worship Him. And the worship surely cannot be just salam, namaz and so on and all. That has to be a broader purpose of worship. Now, from my understanding, I think worship, if you're going to work and doing halal income and looking after your family, that's also a part of worship. So how do we connect that to what Najaf is saying about making yourself, your core activity has to be something for the hereafter? So therefore, if you're doing your job properly, looking after the family, looking after your parents, earning a good wage, isn't that part of your core activity serving the hereafter? Just wanted that confirmation from you.
Partially, yes. Partially, yes. Halal, serving your family, taking care of them, yes, this is good, very good. But what I was trying to convey, and this, I told you, this is very radical. It always creates a lot of questions, and one of the good things of a lecture is to create questions. Number 1, the activity, the halal activity which you are involved in to serve your family, is this activity commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? For example, I'm taking care of accounts of a bank which is not doing everything right. No. Has this been commanded by Allah to take care of this accounts of this bank which is not doing everything right? No. This is the path or the instrument which I had followed to earn halal to serve my family, which was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now I'm trying to make my life, in the light of what people like him recommend, make my life, don't do anything which is not commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even for my earning. Can Allah give me earning from these type of activities which are commanded by Allah? Or He cannot? He can. In one of the du'as, we are recommended to say, Allahumma aghnini bihalalika an haramik. Oh my Allah, make me ghani, rich from your halal, not to pay attention on your haram. So, in my life, can I make my life work for whatever commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even for my earning, and I will earn? Or it is not possible? There is a debt. There is a debt. You can earn from wherever you earn if you're not doing haram. This is your right. You can do this. But is it the depth, extreme depth, or the peak of your services? I said no. You can go further. You can go further. So you earn from activity which is also commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can tell me, you can, for example, I just gave you the example in the lecture. For example, you are doing something which is going to help people in their life, in the core of their life. For example, you are doing business in necessities of life. You are doing business in necessities of life. You are providing these necessities at the most rational cost or price which is imaginable. Can you do this or not? I think you can do this. Try to find out. But I'm not saying that whatever you do else beyond that is not halal. It's absolutely halal. Not saying this is haram.
It's the next level.
Yeah, it's the next level. So don't worry. Don't be worried. You see. Keep going. But you want to go somewhere else, you have to change your lifestyle. I wonder sometimes, when we want to lose some weight on our body, they call us to change your lifestyle. But if we want to have success in hereafter, we don't want to change our lifestyle. How is it possible? You have to change your lifestyle to be on the top of this level. Yeah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi.
We would like the last question of the session. Agazaki.
السلام آغا مرشد نجفی کی زندگی میں اہم کام تھا کہ اسلامی کتابیں اور جو ٹیچنگز تھیں اسلامی وہ جمع کریں اور وہ لوگوں کے سامنے لائیں. ہمارے لیے اس وقت کیا اہم کام ہے جو ہمیں کوشش کریں، جس چیز کی طرف ہمیں کوشش کرنی چاہیے؟
میں اس کو 2-3 پارٹس میں کہوں گا. صحیح، یعنی اگر مجھ سے کوئی پوچھے میری لائف کو تھوڑا سا کوڈ دے دیں، مجھے کیا کرنا چاہیے؟ نمبر 1، سب سے پہلے تزکیہ نفس پہ کام کرنا چاہیے. اس کے بغیر کوئی چیز فائدہ نہیں دیتی، علم بھی فائدہ نہیں دے سکتا. خدا تعالیٰ نے تزکیہ نفس کو واجب رکھا. تزکیہ نفس کیا ہے؟ اچھی عادتوں کو اپنے اندر لے کر آؤ، بری عادتوں کو ختم کرو. مثال کے طور پر جھوٹ بولنا بری عادت ہے، ختم کرو. لوگوں کے بارے میں غلط منصوبے بنانا بری عادت ہے، ختم کرو. پیشنس، صبر اچھی عادت ہے، اختیار کرو. لوگوں کے ساتھ ہمدردی کرنا اچھی عادت ہے، کر لو. تو جو اچھی عادتیں ہیں وہ جمع کر لو، جو بری عادتیں ہیں وہ ختم کر لو. یہ عادتیں پریکٹسز بھی ہو سکتی ہیں، فزیکل پریکٹسز. یہ عادتیں مینٹل ایٹیٹیوڈ بھی ہو سکتی ہیں، اور یہ عادتیں بلیفس بھی ہو سکتی ہیں. یہ 3 جگہوں پہ آ سکتی ہیں: بلیفس، ایتھکس اور مورلز، اور پریکٹسز. تینوں کے اندر آ سکتی ہیں. یہ پہلا کام ہے. نمبر 2، یہ دیکھو کہ انسانوں کی خدمت کیسے کر سکتے ہو. سب سے اچھی خدمت، مثلا میں ایک آدمی کا پیٹ بھروں، 3 گھنٹے کام آئے گا. اس آدمی کو جاب دلوا دوں، جب تک جسم چلے گا کام آئے گا. اگر اس کا ایٹیٹیوڈ لائف کے بارے میں چینج کر دوں جو اسے ہمیشہ کامیاب رکھے، یہ زیادہ امپورٹنٹ ہے. جتنا لوگوں کو سرو کر سکتے ہو کرو، کسی بھی لیول کے اوپر. اچھا، اب اس کا یہ مطلب نہیں ہے ایک آدمی بھوکا مر رہا ہے، کھانا مانگ رہا ہے، میں کہہ رہا ہوں میں تمہارا ایٹیٹیوڈ چینج کروں. نہیں، پہلے کھانا دے دو اس کو. نیڈ ہے وہ کر لو, صحیح ہے. تو پہلی بات تو یہ کہ تزکیہ نفس کرو, نمبر 1 پرائرٹی ہے, ٹاپ پرائرٹی. اس میں علم بھی آتا ہے, اس میں عبادتیں بھی آتی ہیں, مثلا قرآن پڑھو, نمازیں پڑھو, یہ ساری چیزیں. دوسری بات یہ کہ انسانوں کی کام آؤ, انسانوں کی کام آؤ. تیسری بات خوش رہو. مجھے اس سے زیادہ کامیاب زندگی کا کوئی نسخہ نہیں ملتا. خوش رہو. کیسے خوش رہو؟ خدا پہ اعتماد کرو. ہمارے پاس جو دعائیں ہیں یہ بڑی عجیب ہیں. جیسے ابھی میں دعا کا حصہ کہا, اللہم اغننی بحلالک عن حرامک وبطاعتک عن معصیتک وبفضلک عمن سواک. خدا حلال کے ذریعے حرام سے بے نیاز کر دے, اپنی اطاعت کے ذریعے سے اپنے گناہ سے بے نیاز کر دے. اچھا تمہیں خوش رہنا ہے, اطاعت سے خوش رہو یا گناہ سے خوش رہو؟ اطاعت سے خوش. اطاعت میں جو خوشی ہے وہ گناہ میں کہاں آ سکتی ہے؟ وہ خدا نے حرام کیوں کیا اگر اس میں خوشی تھی؟ اگر کوئی آدمی مجھ سے کہے میں فجر کی نماز نہیں پڑھنا چاہ رہا تاکہ سکون ہو میرے جسم کو, آرام ملے, تو میں کہوں گا اگر اس میں آرام ہوتا تو خدا واجب ہی نہیں کرتا. اس میں آرام نہیں ہوگا اس لیے خدا نے واجب کیا. تو خوش رہو, اور خوش رہنے کا صحیح راستہ ڈھونڈو. صحیح راستہ کیا ہے؟ اطاعت کے اندر. اطاعت میں خوشی ہوگی. تو میرا اپنے خیال ہے یہ پورا ایک لائف کا ایک کوڈ بن جاتا ہے کہ آپ تزکیہ نفس کرو, انسانوں کے کام آؤ, خوش رہو. ایک اور بات تم نے پوچھ ہی لیا اور اردو میں پوچھا تو میں پورا کروں. میں ہمیشہ یہ کہتا ہوں, اور کبھی کبھی مجھے لگتا ہے کہ میں بہت چھوٹا آدمی ہوں, اس وجہ سے مجھے کوئی بڑی چیز زیادہ سمجھ میں نہیں آئی, لیکن جو مجھے سمجھ میں آیا ان میں سے یہ بات بہت اہم ہے, جو میں نے اپنی زندگی میں سمجھی ہے ان میں سے یہ بات بہت اہم ہے. مجھے ایسا لگا, مجھے سمجھ میں آیا کہ تمہیں جو کچھ چاہیے وہ دوسروں کو دے دو, خدا تمہیں دے دے گا اس سے بڑھ بڑھ. یہ مجھے سمجھ میں آیا. رسپیکٹ چاہیے, رسپیکٹ. خوشی چاہیے, خوشی دو. اور ایک بات اور سامنے آئی ہے, جو تم دو گے وہی تمہیں ملے گا. تو اگر تم نے کسی کو نفرت دی تو کیا ملے گا؟ تمہیں نفرتیں ملیں گی. تم نے خوشی دی تو کیا ملے گا؟ تمہیں خوشی ملے گی. یہ جو تیسری بات ہے نا, یہ میری لائف کا ایک کور ہے جو مجھے سمجھ میں آیا کہ جو مجھے چاہیے, مجھے اگر اپنے بچوں کو آرام دینا ہے تو کیا کروں؟ دوسروں کے بچوں کو آرام دے. میرے بچوں کو خدا آرام دے. تو یہ مجھے سمجھ میں آیا, جو تمہیں چاہیے وہ دے دو, دے دو, اور خدا بڑھا بڑھا کر تمہیں دے گا. خدا کبھی قرضہ اپنے اوپر نہیں رکھے گا. خدا نے کسی کا قرضہ نہیں رکھنا ہے. هل جزاء الاحسان الا الاحسان. تو پوری ہو جائے گی زندگی. ہمارے پاس 60-70 سال زیادہ نہیں ہے, ایسے ہی گزر جائیں گے. صلو علی محمد و آل
Thank you for a very good question. Thank you all of you. This comes to the end of our program. And thank you especially, on behalf of all of us, especially the Noor committee, thank you to Maulana for taking time to meet us. And especially for Ilyas Pai for driving Maulana here. So for both of them, please read the Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Just to close, this program happens monthly, so inshallah we will see you soon in 1 month. However, whenever you're in London, you are most welcome for this series, inshallah. I think we should finish with one Surah Fatiha for Agha Marashi in honor of him, inshallah. Bismillah. And now if you could just finish with dua for us and dua for us, inshallah, then we will finish the program.
All together, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma kulli waliyika al-hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka عليه وعلى في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا رب.